Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to take a ride in the Ferris wheel show? Prepare yourself for some serious rock talk.
And we're back. Once again, thank you, Herr Stemme, for that beautiful introduction.
Good introduction.
Great introduction. Thank you again, Marky Mark, sound engineer, Armando, our producer, who's keeping Stephen Wheeler awake. So
With a stick.
With a stick. So who's in the side of the booth over here?
Stephen Wheeler.
And who's to the left of me?
Dr. Ian Clark.
And who am I?
No one really knows except your psychiatrist.
Okay. I'm Ferris Kennedy. So we left it off with, as Ian would call them, a bar band, kind of, Bon Jovi, in the first episode.
It should have remained the bar. Anyway.
So anyways, Ian and I had a healthy discussion after that show, and he's still alive after the big battle we had in the parking lot. It helps when you outweigh someone by 25 pounds. And I lost weight. Go figure. So now we left people hanging. So here we are. The next band is from London. And
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Ayo! Queen. They're definitely a safe band.
Oh, Queen are so safe. They're untouchable.
They're untouchable. The movie is awesome. I love Bohemian Rhapsody. Be on the lookout for our video. We're gonna be doing we're gonna go to the movies, the three of us, to go see Queen, and we're gonna do some live footage. So be aware. Queen, who did it consist of? Well, Freddie. Does it have to go any further? I'm going to say it's just Freddie and Roger. Because I really like Roger Taylor when he did the song, I'm in love with my car.
Yeah, that's okay.
Great voice.
Okay.
Good. But the lyrics were awful. So we had Freddie as the lead singer, Brian May as the guitarist, John Deacon as their, I believe, was that their second bassist?
Yeah, wasn't he?
Second,
I think so, yeah.
First guy left.
Yeah, the first guy left. And then Roger Taylor's been their drummer ever since.
Great drummer.
And for those of you that, just so we could clarify one of the rumors, Queen never broke up. They never split up. Whenever they did the solo project, when Freddie went on his own, the band wanted him to do it because it gave them a break, because they're working on other stuff. They never broke up. And actually, Roger did a lot of the drums for Freddie because he flew to Munich to go with him.
Yeah, I heard that.
On that one. So, to me, they're safe. Ian, I don't think you disagree.
No one in their right mind can disagree with that. Queen is a part of the cultural fiber now. I mean, every Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I've mentioned one of our previous shows, like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 shows ago, the impact of Bohemian Rhapsody. Now everyone knows it. People hum along in SARS. It's in cars. It's in Wayne's World. It's a joke. It's this. It's that. But when it came out, this is what I'm going to say 74. If I'm right,
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I was there. I wasn't old enough to drive, but I was in the car of a guy that could. I was sitting in the back seat of like a 70 Impala, and Bohemian Rhapsody came on, Chum Radio in Toronto, and the driver, 16, 17-year-old kid, we actually pulled over. This is in North Toronto. And we just sat there and we listened to it. And it sounded so different and so bizarre. No one did any smart aleck jokes. No one said anything. We just listened to it. And then after it was over, we kind of looked at each other. He started the car and we drove on. It was it's most surreal experience. But people today can't realize how different that sound was in 1974.
They were ahead of their time.
Oh,
what they did in the 70s, in my mind, it was music that should have been in the 80s. And the music they did in the 80s would have been more towards the 90s.
Yeah, the 80s is funny when they they kind of scaled everything down, bites the dust and stuff.
A lot of bass stuff.
A lot of bass stuff.
Yeah.
But when they came out, so there's a good reason they're a safe band. Now, that said, they had a kind of a challenging reputation at that time, and it wasn't cool to like Queen, believe me, in the early 70s, mid-70s. They became cool probably around 85 when they did, Live Aid, was it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
July 13th, 1985, they stapled and solidified themselves into rock music history, and Dave Grohl went on, quote, saying that is by far the best performance that he's ever seen an artist do, and he goes, no one could top that.
Yeah, well, there you go. So
I think we can resume their journey towards safedom in three events: Live Aid, Wayne's World, and Bohemian Rhapsody the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
Like Live Aid makes them cool. Wayne's World brings them to a new generation, and Bohemian Rhapsody basically creates a
them
new
back.
movement. Yeah, and it's a
Brings them
new movement now. There's going to be like tons of biopics of rockers.
And what's really cool when you're going back to the 80s, we're talking about the bass
Mhm.
lines. It's kind of nice that they let John Deacon really show his true bass talents of
Yeah.
rhythm and stuff like that. So they're safe by 100%. And to me, even though they kind of have them still listed as present, no, 91 is when it was done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, now let's go to a band that's man, they've been around since 79.
Oh, yeah.
From San Francisco. Go ahead, Ian. Who's this band? And list me all these
Well, thanks very much for listening, listeners. Here is San Francisco Radio, Huey Lewis and the News.
with what, like 25 members?
They've had about 300 to 400 members. Huey Lewis and the News always struck me as a bar band that made it big but never stopped becoming a bar band, which I suppose is, in a way is okay, but not when you were trying to sell stadiums or you want to become a recording artist. Basically, someone left the mic, the recording on, and they did. What was that one? Was there big? Got a new drug? What was it?
I want a new drug.
When it won't get me down.
Oh, that's a good song. That was from the album Sports.
Yeah, to me, he was kind of a novelty. He has a good voice for a bar band. Can't you just see walking into a band somewhere in Seattle, or a bar in Seattle, and at night, and this guy's on the stage. They got 2 or 3 horns. It's more of probably a cover charge type of club, and they're good, but they're not really great. Like they're not going to become big stars. Well, Huey Lewis became a big star to the point where he did movie bits. I think he was in Back to the Future or something.
Yep. He plays the guy who judges Michael J. Fox's band.
Incredible. I mean, that's talk about safe. You're into this movie now.
Yeah, but you said they're not safe.
In my books, they're not.
Okay.
No.
So you want to read me?
I should be saying something here. A lot of the stuff that I say is unsafe. There's a minority of us, and listeners, please. I wouldn't mind some bonding here, but a lot of the stuff I say is unsafe or debatable. It's just the way I feel about it. No, there's no right or wrong about this. Huey Lewis is a safe band. Actually, right now, I heard he's an excellent golfer. Boy, how's that for a musician?
And he likes to fish.
Great. So B.B. King dies in a bar playing his, Rickenbacker, and this guy's fishing. I just don't get it. All right, I think he's a novelty act.
Can you list me the members?
Oh yeah, because they really stand out. There's about 1,700 of them or something. They play for tip money, then quit. So let's just leave this poor guy alone. I'm not going to torture him. By the way, he's still around. It's bizarre no one's taken him out.
I saw him at Blues Fest. They came out with an album called Soulsville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
They could have done without it, but there you go.
So who do you got there? You got Huey Lewis. You got
Oh,
John.
no, don't.
You've got Huey Lewis, basically.
That's it. And then there's the news. Okay. Next, Ian, your band.
Well, there you go. This band was anything but safe.
They're not safe or safe?
Now they're safe, sorry.
So they're Hall of Fame bound.
Yeah.
there.
It took 3 albums for them to be safe.
At least it took the death of their drummer to get safe, really.
So
But
1980.
yeah, John Bonham. So obviously I'm talking about Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant, singer. Jimmy Page, guitars. John Paul Jones, bass and keyboards. And John Bonham.
Guess where John Paul Jones is now?
Where?
Remember, I told this to you.
Oh, I know. He did a thing with your buddy.
Lenny Kravitz, he's the bass. He's like, oh, good, gets him out of the house.
Basically, hey, past the age of 70, you get a call. I'd like to do my show. I'm at the Hippodrome. Yeah, what time? 8 o'clock. What's the song? I'll be there. Plug me in. And you show up. Because your wife will say, so where you going? It's Lenny Kravitz show? It gets you out of the house. It's either that or television. So this band became safe, and they became gods. Almost it took the death of their drummer. And time has been very, very kind to Led Zeppelin. Aside from the multiple lawsuits they have for plagiarism, they were and they remain, especially Jimmy Page. It was Jimmy Page's band. Let's leave it at that. I think that's a safe comment.
They're reuniting, by the way.
Pardon me?
They're reuniting.
Yeah.
Plant and Paige and I guess who cares about what John Paul thinks, but it's just well, no, seriously, 'cause those are the two guys, right? It's like Lennon McCartney, Paige and Plant,
And John Paul.
so,
Ringo.
anyways, they're putting their crap behind, and they're coming back.
They are so they.
I
So,
think it's just for a reunion tour. It's
if they do a tour, they they did the O2 in London, and there's overcapacity, everything. They had to do to sell the tickets by some bizarre online raffle or something. The whole thing was incredible. So that was Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they're safe, but again, they weren't always safe.
all right. Next,
The same
Over
can
to
be said
you.
of this band too.
this band here, and now before I mention them, just so you know, they're reuniting again.
Oh, stop.
And they're bringing back the bassist that they want to kick out and erase. We did a show about erasing people. Yes, they're from Pasadena, California. They've been around since '72. Van Halen is back again.
God.
So they got Roth from '72 to '85. Then he comes back to '07 to now. Hagar from '85 to '96. By the way, they're not bringing back Hagar, just so you know. Okay, they're upset at him for some other reason. Then there's Gary Sharon from '96 to '99. Eddie's been there since the beginning. His brother Alex. Michael Anthony went from '74 to '06. And then Wolfgang took over from '06 to now. And now, looks like Wolfgang can't cut it. And they're bringing back Michael Anthony. I don't know if they're safe. I don't know. Someone's got a problem in this band, and I think it's got to be Eddie. He's the problem.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think they're safe. You can say you like Van Halen, but what that really means is you probably like the David Lee Roth Van Halen.
Yeah, 1984, that album. I love that album.
Jump and stuff, yeah.
That's it. That's as far as I want to say about these guys because
Yeah.
I've ranted on them and I'm going to get on and on.
But I have to say, you have to admire a guy who goes into this world called Wolfgang.
Well,
Well,
it's, yeah, it's
Yeah, you have to stay in music. I mean, otherwise
Well,
there's
I
really
would turn to my parents and say, really? We're going with that.
So how did Neil Young say it?
Dad, I want to be a singer.
Okay. Next band, Wheels.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Now look at that list of.
Yeah, I don't know why you you wanted us to introduce them. but-
No way.
I'll do it.
No, it's
You do
okay.
it.
No,
You do it.
No, it's
no,
okay.
no.
You do it. Do it. You got to because I need. There's a reason why I did this. Go ahead.
So me or
Well,
doctor?
no,
the doctor.
the doctor hates this band.
I don't hate this band.
Go ahead, Wheels. We
But
need
if
to
they
hear
vanished,
your,
I wouldn't miss them.
You need to hear your voice. So just go read them all out, and I'll give you the. I'll cue in when I have to.
So from '83 all the way to now, you've got Anthony
Kiedis.
Kiedis as a singer, Flea as on the bass.
Not his real name,
Michael Balzer is his real name.
One would hope it's not his real name.
but he has perhaps fleas.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
from going around naked for all those years. Jack Sherman, lead guitar from '83 to '84. Slovak, lead guitar '83 to '88. McKnight, lead guitar '88 to well, actually '88. he was there for a few
Okay,
months.
so pause that for a second.
Sure.
This is the guy Ian I was talking about, Dwayne McKnight.
Yeah.
Ring a bell?
Yeah.
Good. Next.
So Frusciante, lead guitar '88 to '92, took a break, came back from '98 to 2009. Eric Marshall was there from '92 to '93. Jesse Tobias, again lead guitar '93 only,
93. 93, yeah, 1 year.
and got kicked out for Dave Navarro to have some space as the lead guitar from '93 to '98. Then we switch to Klinghoffer to 2009 till now. Jack Irons was on the drum from '83 to '86. Cliff Martinez took his place from '86 to '88. And he was replaced by Chad Smith from '88 till now.
All right.
Chad Smith is actually Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it is Will Ferrell. And here's the thing. A couple of these guitarists overdosed. This is what I got from my info. Except for Dwayne McKnight, he's still alive.
By the way, we just read 13 names.
Okay?
That's the Morbid Tabernacle.
So, yeah. So, I guess Kiedis
The
and
lucky
Flea,
version.
yeah.
The unlucky version, sorry.
Yeah.
Now, is Kiedis and Flea the problem? The reason why is these guitarists just kept rolling through. But it's kind of neat that you went from Frusciante to Navarro, who was already solidified with Jane's Addiction,
You're going to say, yeah.
to back to Frusciante. And then you went to, what the hell's his name again? Klinghoffer. That's it. That's all I want to say. So, I don't know. Are they safe?
They are now, I think.
Maybe. My gut feeling tells me no. Like,
Well, when you appear on a Simpsons episode, I think you're
yeah,
safe
really.
at that point.
Maybe that's a way of looking. When you're publicly endorsed, there is something to it. My book, nah, I wouldn't. I think they're just too confused.
I grew up on them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to say
You grew up with fleas?
Yeah, I grew up with fleas. Yeah, and the neighborhood we grew up in was pretty bad.
True.
I'd put them in the Hall of Fame before Guns N' Roses, and that's a huge thing for me to say.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because it never broke out.
Well, they just circled through guys, but yeah.
Doesn't matter. At least when they started getting like Dwayne, he just kind of filled in for them for a bit, just till they found somebody, because he already had his own thing going. But when you go from Frusciante and then you get another established guitarist like Navarro, okay, that's a bunch of egos all together. The drummer, he's pretty chill. He didn't care. You know, Chad Smith's happy. He's got a gig. He's all right. But yeah, I don't know. They never broke up, and to me, it's huge. If you're still together,
And
that's
I'd
big.
say they're more consistent than Guns N' Roses as well. I mean, there's not one album that really stands out
Yeah.
as the definitive Chili Pepper album, but I'd say in terms of quality, it's relatively consistent.
It is consistent. Frusciante, like Navarro was more of a showmanship, but they both knew how to play guitar. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
these are guys that are not like trying to figure out what chords to get next. And I think Blood Sugar Sex Magic is the album that really, and it was in their early years, because they started in '86. So that's only 6 years that they came in to start putting out an awesome album like that.
Yeah.
So I'm safe with them. Ian, you're on the fence.
I'm on the fence, probably heading toward unsafe.
Okay. And Wheels?
I'd say safe, just based on popular acceptance.
Fantastic. So the next band, Ian?
Def Leppard.
No, you gotta say that. Def Leppard.
Originated from Sheffield. Sheffield, I know. Sheffield, tough place. 1977. Joe Elliott, singer. Steve Clark. Well, he can't be all bad. He's on guitar. Vivian Campbell, interesting. Also guitar. 91 to present. Phil Colin, not Colin, guitar. 82 to present. So they're going. Rick Savage, great name for a band like this. He's on bass, and Rick Allen on drums.
What's the one-arm guy?
Yeah,
And,
right.
and it was in a Corvette accident.
There you go.
Okay, he lost his arm, and
That's really rock and roll.
yeah,
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And he keeps playing.
And the way this band was formed was in college. Joe Elliott missed the last bus to go home, and then he bumped into, I think it was Steve Clark.
Well, Clarks are usually good people.
Yeah, they're not bad. The origination of the name is Clerk, which means writer. So maybe Steve Clerk helped out in this regard. Safe or unsafe?
Safe.
With the passage of time, I'd say safe. They weren't really in the 80s.
Well, they just got inducted.
Yeah, no. But
So
I mean,
that's-
in the late 80s, early 90s, they got like the backlash of the hair metal.
Yeah, that's it.
But now, they stuck around, and just longevity, and
You know what? You hit it. It's simply based on longevity alone.
And
They're
they never
safe.
broke up.
They're safe. They're in The Simpsons probably, and I think they're everywhere. They're kind
They're
of.
at your place last week.
They were in the basement. I had to feed them.
Yeah.
And they find,
couch surfers.
they're safe just based on longevity.
All right. Next.
Tragically hip.
Oh, you're ahead by a century.
Wow, Kingston, Ontario, too. From 1983 to 2017, with the death of Gordon Downey, their singer. Canada, of course, went into mourning, which we do really well. And it was on all the media, et cetera, et cetera.
And it was a live show on 3 platforms at the same time, if I remember correctly. The last concert was on the internet, on the CBC website,
Yeah.
CBC radio, and on TV, all at the same time, which I think was the first.
For our listeners south of the border, Canada isn't great at what its terms national mourning. We just don't do it really well. And this, in my lifetime, is one of the rare instances I've seen it. It's really hard to recall coast to coast kind of mourning.
Well, when Pierre Trudeau died.
Not even really. I think Churchill was the last really big one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It wasn't
even our
one.
guy.
Oh, sorry. Are you
Exactly.
talking about just like Canadian, like a whole country?
Yeah.
like the
mourning?
old country?
Well, I thought Trudeau was a big thing.
Well,
It was a
would-
big thing, but certain areas really still hated him till this day.
Okay, well then, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess Gord Downey, you know.
It's bizarre. Gord Downey just, for some reason, again, totally mysterious to me, captured the zeitgeist, and he nailed it. And this country really got behind the mourning, so to speak. And so Downey singer, Rob Baker guitar, Gord Sinclair on bass, Paul Langlois guitar, and Johnny Fay.
Isn't
on
Rob
drums.
Baker the one who's now into the pod business?
Though who's the one with the long hair?
That makes sense.
Well, he's pretty cool. I saw the hip. I could have sworn it was 3 times. My father says it's 5 because he brought me when I was a kid. I don't remember, but the last 3 times, obviously, it's more in my adult years.
Mhm.
I was up front, and holy cow, I got up front because my buddy Adam dragged me all the way to the front, and it was great because it was him and his buddy Josh, and me at about 5'9", and these guys at 6 and change. They made a nice wall for me, and I was able
Cool.
to enjoy the whole concert. I walked out deaf, but
And sterilized.
yeah, I was sterilized, but they were great.
Hmm.
They're good. So to me, they're safe, and it's obviously we're Canadian. We gotta love our Canadian guys
Yeah,
because we don't have
true.
much.
No,
Well,
but
but plus, I mean, they were one of those rare things where they were good on an album and they were good live, but not for the same reasons.
yeah, it's well put, actually. Yeah.
All right, next band from Berkeley, California. They've been the same 3. Green Day, 86 onwards. Billy Joe Armstrong on guitar and the voice. Trey Cool you gotta love that. Trey
know.
Cool. Il est très cool.
Il est très cool.
Très cool.
I'm sure it's his name at birth.
Yeah, drums, and then we have Mike Dirnt in the bass. Yeah,
See-
they're punk.
They were punk,
They
They
were
were
punk.
punk.
Now they're mainstream pop.
Yeah.
more or less. Well, I mean, he did an album with Nora Jones, for God's sakes. So.
He
Yeah,
did a
I-
musical, right? American Idiot.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, the guy could,
Yeah, you're safe when you get musicals.
you're safe when you get musicals. And coming from the Dave Grohl school, they do invite. It's really cool. This is one of the first bands to do this. They invite people up at their concerts to a lot of their songs are like 3 or 4 chords to play along. And I really love stuff like that. I can't imagine Led Zeppelin or any heavy group doing that, right? But when the people get participation like that, it's something about it I think is really, really new and really cool. So Green Day, to me, the fact that you can do that means you're safe. You present no danger. You're accepted. You've been around forever. Safe.
Perfect. Wheels.
Yeah.
Okay. Next band, Wheels.
Metallica.
Oh.
So originally from LA, 1979 till the present.
I'm not sure about the 79. I know their first albums was in the 80s, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the new album that came out was like based on their garage tapes.
I don't like it.
Well, yeah, but it's not really Metallica. It's like the embryonic Metallica. So yeah, it's always more or less been James Hetfield. I'm never sure.
Hetfield.
Hetfield. Kirk Hammett, Jason Newsted.
Mhm.
So I've been saying that I've been talking about the singer guitar, lead guitar. Newsted was the bass guitar from 86 till 2001. They had Cliff Burton on bass from 82 till 86. They've had Robert Trujillo on bass from 2003 on to now. And Lars Ulrich on drums ever since the beginning.
So with this band, which is kind of interesting because of Cliff Burton. So Cliff Burton, after 86, when he left, Jason Newsted was a fan of the band and just he just wowed them with the bass. And that's how he got in. And
Was
yeah.
the Cliff Burton married to Elizabeth Taylor?
No, that's Richard.
Okay, thank you.
so
That's maybe-
Although she liked them young, but not that young.
That's
So-
maybe why he left.
I think, Ian, you had said in episode 1 of this saga that they are safe because of the type of genre that they created.
Yeah, that's really Metallica. They represent their genre better than anyone else, I think, just by their name alone, by the longevity. When you hear them interviewed, they're kind of peaceful and intelligent about their intent and their purpose. These guys are professionals. They're not just kind of headbangers, shooting up dope. These guys know where they're going. You don't get there like that, as they did. If you don't have a tight focus, you just don't. And the longevity's out the window. From 1979, good God. So, yeah, they became safe. They were not safe for the first half of their life.
No, but I think the day they became the headliners of a video game, I think that makes you really safe. Like they're the reason why Guitar Hero became one of the biggest sellers in the video game world for a long time.
Yeah.
I think though that our younger viewers might hate their guts for a while because of their stand against Napster.
Yeah. No, that was Lars.
That was
Lars. That was just
True.
Lars. I don't think
True.
it was Metallica on his own.
On its own.
Yeah, it was just Lars on his own. Excuse me. And I think Kid Rock said it best. Oh, so I'm gonna sell 2 million instead of 8 million. Wah, whatever. He goes, they're downloading it. I don't care. He goes, they have my music. Fine, take it. He goes, what am I gonna complain about?
Yeah.
You know, you got Anthony Kiedis. Oh, sign my burnt CD. And Kid Rock came back and said, who cares? It's a fan, man. At the end of the day, you're still making money.
Yeah, in fact, you don't make much money from streaming and CDs.
So what are they complaining about?
6%.
No, exactly.
So.
And also they're responsible, well, for not for the phenomenon itself, but we did a show on about this, what was it, 2 seasons ago or 1 season ago? The Loudness Wars, where this new bad habit of record labels of boosting the bass till the point where you don't hear anything. And Metallica is actually responsible for people realizing, oh, this sounds like horribly bad horse manure.
Yeah.
And so, to a certain extent, I mean, we can say they're safe because they're bringing these things into the mainstream.
All right.
Yeah.
The next band that I considered safe, and they're from New York City. They went around from 81 till 2012. Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
They consisted of Michael, Jack and Mike D on my dismay. So it's Mike D Diamond. You got Adam MCA Yaw, and then you got Adam Adrock Horowitz. 3 boys, I believe, they're from Queens, one of the boroughs. No, Brooklyn, excuse me. So to me, they're safe. Ian, you could argue with me all you want.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know this is a band, but okay.
You didn't know the Beastie Boys was a band? What is wrong with you, man?
A band? Isn't it a group of kind of exhibitionists or something?
Oh, my God.
I don't know. A band, yeah. Holy camole. Which one's dead, by the way? Adam, I think.
Well, there's 2 Adams.
Okay, maybe they're both dead.
I think it's Adam. Is it Adam? Oh my God, I hope he's not listening. Jesus, is Adam Horowitz? I don't remember. But I just bought the book. It's about this thick, and I showed you the photo
What?
of the book.
There's a book.
Yeah. So by popular demand, we're gonna do more special pieces. I posted that on our Facebook
That's
page.
terrifying.
So we're gonna do a piece on Beastie Boys.
Actually, that should be a good indication that they're safe. When you have a book
really.
that's thick as a brick on your career, you're safe.
But you know what? I was gonna do a song on Beastie Boys, but I'm not. So I'm gonna have Ian talk about CCR because that's the next band, and then we're gonna do that song after Ian's done spewing his brains and love for John Fogerty.
Well, I don't know. I'm no big kind of Fogerty fan that way.
All right. So wait, Beastie Boys, you say safe or no?
Oh, they're safe, but for bizarre, twisted, deviated reasons.
All right. Wheels?
I think so, yeah.
Great. We're 3 for 3. Carry on. CCR.
Carry on my way. Yeah. Okay,
Kansas, they're nuts.
CCR, Creedence Clearwater something. No.
Revisited.
Wow. How's that for a touring ripoff, right? Because they didn't have rights to the name. My God. It's like the Doors of the 21st century. Oh, you mean the Doors? Oh, CCR, I'm not going to go through the personnel. There's no point to it.
Just one. Just name me 2 of them.
John Fogerty and his brother. How's that?
Is it Jeremy?
It's Phil Fogerty.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, this is one of these bands that had an incredible run from about 67 to 70 and then broke down into a nasty, backbiting, internecine wars. If young musicians should study the rise and fall of CCR as a lesson, it should be taught in rock school. John Fogerty was immensely gifted. You just hit after hit after hit, for everything from Proud Mary to Run Through the Jungle. It just goes on. There's about
Fortunate
50.
Son.
There's about 20 of them, and they're all really simple, which is why Springsteen called them kind of the best American songwriter since Woody Guthrie. Because there's just 3 or 4 chords. Almost any bar band can play them, which is why you hear them in bars. And I would argue, beyond a doubt, safe. I don't know how many soundtracks you're going to find CCR. You know,
every war movie pretty well has
every
a
war
Fortunate
movie,
Son.
yeah.
Like Almost Fortunate Son.
Yeah, so,
Safe.
Yeah. Safe.
Yep.
All right. Next band. Ian, go ahead.
Soundgarden.
Mm-hmm.
Out of-
Jardin du Son in Quebec.
Out of Seattle, Washington, in 1984.
Till officially they're done. Kim Thale.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Kim Thale said that after Cornell had passed, they just kind of finished off a few things, and they would never see themselves going anywhere without him. So
You know what? That's noble. I don't mind if bands that have, let's say, a key member, usually the lead singer for some reason die, go on, as long as they don't try to record anything. Because when you record, the Doors, for instance, after Morrison died, recorded 2 albums. It could be from a different band, like a Doors bar band or something. And you realize, like Chris Cornell, I hate to say it, but he was the focal point of the band. So even though you have good musicians, when he dies, it's noticed. So, as I said, Chris Cornell, the late Chris Cornell, was a singer, guitar player. God, he had a beautiful voice. Kim Thale was lead guitar. Hiro Yamamoto, bass, from 84 to 89. Jason Everman, bass, from 89 to 90. And Ben Shepherd, bass. Bit of an issue with bass players in this band. 90 to present. Scott Sundquist, drums, 85 to 86. Didn't make it long there. And Matt Cameron, of course, from 86 to now. Soundgarden, again, one of those bands that was not cool. But just through range. They had a really interesting range. In fact, a range that you might, I would argue, that is up there with, what's the great Eddie Vedder? Like, this is one of those people one of those bands that can go from almost folk to grungy stuff. Possibly, you could argue, more range than Nirvana. It was just an interesting band. They're good musicians, and he is sorely missed. Cornell had a voice of, I don't know, it was angelic at one time, and then kind of Robert Planty and harsh the next time. It's quite a loss.
Well, I got to make you a copy then of my Temple of the Dog album, where it's Cornell and Vedder that formed that supergroup.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, so I'll send that off to you.
Boy, talk about 2 great voices.
Yep. So they're safe in my mind. Next band, go ahead. Well, he should have been a solo artist, but because I'm biased, go ahead. Wheels. Who did we put?
So Bryan Adams, our BC boy.
Well, he's a Kingston native, but whatever.
Well, yeah.
The band.
the band. It's the band is BC born in '76, still touring to this day. So of course, the lead singer guitarist is Bryan Adams. The other names people know a little less. So there's Keith Scott on rhythm guitar, Mickey Curry on drums, and that's from '86 till now. You've had Gary Bright on keyboards from 2002 till now, and Norm Fisher on bass from 2002 till now.
Beautiful. So, Canadian content, they're safe. The next band, because I know Ian was itching to play a song on this band. So let's talk about the Monkees, Ian.
The Monkees. Okay. The Monkees are an interesting band. The Monkees go back to, I don't have my reference notes, but I'm going to say 1966. And they were put together by television producers and in Los Angeles. And they auditioned 4 guys. Trivia, Stephen Stills tried to get in, but the producers thought his teeth weren't good enough for close-ups. So Stephen Stills had bad teeth, and he didn't make the Monkees. But he recommended his friend, a guy named Peter Tork, who did make the Monkees. So they were called the Prefab Four. You had Davy Jones, Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith, and Mickey Dolenz.
You're right, though. 66 to 71. Man,
there you go.
Good. I got my notes here.
And they, to everyone's surprise, and especially the producers of the show, they became a big hit. They were just set up as kind of a knockoff of Hard Day's Night, where you had 4 guys living together, doing kooky things, singing songs. I think it was like a beach house in Malibu or something like that. And they had a funky car, the Monkey Mobile they drove around in. And then suddenly what happened is people started to expect them, operative word expect them, to be a real band. And so some of these guys had to learn how to play, especially Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones, how to play instruments.
Although, didn't they know how to play instruments, but the wrong ones?
Well,
compared
maybe
to their characters.
Maybe that was, well, Nesmith was on the guitar for me. That's the way he auditioned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They had Torque actually on the drums, but he's actually the bassist.
I think, yeah.
Dolenz was.
was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Torque was a
Dolenz-
good musician.
Yeah,
Like
but
he-
Torque was he's actual bassist, but in the show he played the drummer, and Mickey Dolenz.
Mostly in the show, Dolenz was on drums.
Drums, yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yo, yeah. Hey, Monkey fan. And they,
You had the lunchbox, man.
I didn't, but I looked at it. And they started million selling sales. No one could believe it. And then you started looking at the credits, and you saw their songwriters were people like, now you never really heard of like Neil Diamond and Carole King.
Who are they?
Neil Sedaka.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, it helps. It really helps. And
Song,
blue. But they were a knockout band. And who left first? I can't. I think Mike Nesmith left, and the other three kept going. And they were one of these kind of slow disintegration. They made a movie called Head, which was written by an actor you might have heard of named Jack Nicholson. And after that, they vanished. And then they came back years later as kind of a retro touring band.
Are they safe or not safe?
The Monkees are safe. They actually had a song written by Harry Nilsson called Cuddly Toy. You can't get safer than that.
Didn't they just put out a Christmas album last season?
Yeah, they have some new stuff. They had a Monkey show about 10 years ago. Davy Jones, of course, passed away about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago.
My mom said that was her boyfriend when she was
Yeah,
a kid.
he was the cute one.
One, exactly.
My sister liked him. A lot of the girls liked Davy
Yeah, 3 of them are
Jones.
American. He was the British one. Wow, go figure.
Yeah, well,
He was the one with the good teeth.
Yeah, for some odd reason.
John.
Sir Elton John.
Sarah from Pinner, United Kingdom. 1962 to present. Okay, 62, I guess so, but not really as Elton John as you know him. He was with a few bands like Lon John Baldry and another blues band he was with, and he went through a few of them, and he answered an ad in a local music magazine. So did a guy named Bernie Taupin, and they got together, and as Taupin was the lyricist, and they went absolutely nowhere for quite a while. And he released an album titled Elton John that went nowhere. And slowly he circled, he got a hit called Daniel, and he slowly circled. Anyway, he became the guy you know now. Elton John is, the piano man. Nigel Olsson, who's still with him to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Davy Johnson on guitar, who became his arranger. Great, solid guitar player. John Mahon percussion vocals. Yeah, he came in later. Ray Cooper, percussionist, came in later. Matt Bissonette, bass, he came in because the original bass player passed away. And Kim Bullard on keyboards to back up with Elton. Because Elton John songs became more complicated as time went by. I'm going to argue beyond a question. Elton John, who sang at with the Requiem for Lady Di, if you do that, I mean, talk about safe, is beyond a doubt safe.
Well, that, and I think he wrote the highest-selling soundtrack for Disney with The Lion King.
Yeah.
And you have to give it to him. He played in front of millions of people dressed like Donald Duck.
Oh yeah, I remember that concert. That was at L.A.
Like, yeah.
He's well known.
Yeah,
And
well, he's something. He's awesome when you perform. He just gets on there and just goes.
Yeah,
he just goes.
I saw him in his prime during the Yellow Brick Road tour. Listeners, if you want to pick up a piece of music, kind of like a Moon Dance or whatever, a Carole King Tapestry, pick up. In fact, I'm going to list that as one of my Desert Island discs is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road from 1973, produced by a guy named Gus Dudgeon, and it's just a double album, and it 95% great. It's unbelievable, and of course Elton John says, yeah, it was his best piece.
Sounds good. So he's safe in my books.
Yeah, me too.
Who's
right.
next?
We got one last one before we wrap up show 2.
Yeah.
Blink 182 from Poway, California. 92 to present. I think the present means that they're in Vegas now. Initially, it was Tom DeLonge from 92 to 2015, along with Mark Hoppus. And then it was replaced. Tom left, and Matt Skiba came in. And they went through 2 drummers, which is not too bad. Scott Rayner from 92 to 98, and then obviously everyone knows Travis Barker. To me right now, I don't really consider them a safe band.
Why is that?
Because Tom DeLonge left. Whenever your founding members leave, I have an issue with that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, yeah.
I do have an issue with that. But I do like Blink-182. I like them a lot. I like old Blink. I'm not big on this new change of Blink. So... with that being said, sorry, Blink, because you're in Vegas for the rest of your life until something happens.
You're eaten by Timberwolves or something.
That's right. So we're going to say sayonara. I'm Ferris Kennedy.
Dr. Ian Clark.
Stephen Wheeler.
And stay tuned for part 3. Au revoir.
Bonjour.